hello, it's time for a reading wrap up. I read a lot. They're mostly like 91 and 91 manga stuff, but let's talk about it because I've got a stack. So first up, I read The God's Lie by Kaori Okaze, which is a manga. It's just one volume about these middle schoolers, and the boy ends up meeting this girl, and she lives alone with her little brother because her dad is working in Alaska on his crab boat. And so she's looking after her little brother, and it's tragic. Um, it's very tragic in a lot of ways, and yeah, depressing, sad, good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The art is very cute. It's kind of average, but it is cute, and it's a good time. Good time is maybe a strong word for it, but it is very good. Next, I read the second volume in a series that I wasn't intending on continuing, and I'm still not really intending on continuing it. It is off my list. I don't want it. I already sold the first volume on eBay, but like the second volume introduced us to characters that were kind of interesting, but it's just fucking weird. That's the second volume of Food Wars. So Food Wars is this manga series following this culinary school. And the thing that makes this series weird is that when people taste food that's really, really good, the author draws them naked, which is a lot sometimes. But other than that, style's fun, he's fun. Like I said, in this one, we met some new characters in here that I really liked. So now, will I be keeping an eye out for lots with them on eBay? Yes. Will I probably be watching the anime at some point? Maybe if I get it on DVD. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm still not committing to recollecting this series, but you know, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was better than the first volume. Then I finished up an ebook, and it was honestly, I'm gonna say, my favorite book of this chunk, and that is The Sunshine Court by Nora Sakovic. It was so good. It was so fucking good. The Sunshine Court is the 4th book in the All for the Game series, which was has been 3 books forever and ever and ever. And this series is it's self-published, and it's really skyrocketed in a way. It's very popular in Tumblr, and that probably tells you all you need to know about it. Basically, it follows this fake sport. It's kind of a weird mix between like lacrosse and like it's weird lacrosse basically. But we also have like the mafia and stuff. There's a lot in this series, and they're very there's a lot, but the Sunshine Court follows a side character in the series, Jean Moreau, who has always been my favorite. And I read this on Kindle because it came out when I was in a book buying, when it wasn't a book month, and so I had like Kindle credits, so I just like used them because Nora Sakovic is the GOAT, and she decides that I follow her school of thought in ebooks. All of her ebooks are 99 cents, which is fantastic. It's great. I do have at some point, well, in the fall, March was a book month, and what came out in March was what's it called, Rainbow Crate came out with pre-order for special editions of the Foxhole Court books, and so I pre-ordered those, and I have them coming. This month, I do intend at some point to get my hands on a physical copy of the Sunshine Court, but no, it was very good. It's very heavy. It's very heavy. These books are very heavy. If you have any sort of issues with things that are a little bit heavy, maybe stay away, but it's so good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, it's probably gonna be one of my favorite books of the year. After that, I read a terrible little manga called Galaxy Angel Beta Volume 1. And this says Volume 1, but you're supposed to have read something else because I didn't know what was going on, and I was expecting to. I read a lot of manga out of order. And like, it doesn't bother me because I know it's out of order. This one, I thought it was gonna be a Volume 1. I didn't know what was going on. I gave it 1.75 out of 5 stars. It is older, so like, the art isn't that good, the story isn't that good. I didn't know who was who. It was not good. After that, I read this like a board book that I got sent by mistake, and that is Kiss by Kiss by Richard Van Camp, which is a baby book in both English and Cree. So there's that. What did I give it? 3 out of 5 stars? Yeah. After that, I read the first in another series that I'm playing and collecting. It's so fun. It was The Yakuza's Bias Volume 1 by Taki Yatsuda, which is about this man in the Yakuza who becomes very enamored with K-pop, and it's so funny. It's so funny. The art is fun. It's fine. I really enjoyed it. It's a comedy. There's not really much beyond old man really loves K-pop star, but it is a lot of fun. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. All right, then we've got our first actual novel, except for it's not. It's written in verse. Family by Nicole Osto, which is the Manson family. That's what this is. It's basically just Manson. It follows this girl who's very disenfranchised in like the 60s, and she goes to the height, and the minute I read that I was like, oh, so it's a Manson thing. And then this mysterious charismatic little man shows up, and I'm like, oh, so it's a Manson thing. And he takes her to his the ranch where he lives in the desert with a bunch of other girls, and I'm like, oh, so it's a Manson thing. And it was a Manson thing. The one thing where it wasn't a Manson thing was when it came to the victims of their crime, because they do go through with everything, and then like it wasn't the same there. And I was like, if you were going to have Tex Watson down to he was like an all-American football star, at least have him kill a pregnant lady. I'm just saying, you can't wimp out when it comes to the victims if everything else is going to be textbook Manson. It was fine. 4 out of 5 stars. All right, then I reread a childhood book, and that is Sammy Keys and the Sisters of Mercy. I've been rereading these books this year. They're very, very fun. I liked these books a lot when I was a kid. Sammy Keys was the coolest motherfucker alive. For so many reasons. She skateboarded, she wore high tops, she was awesome. And in this one, she catches some nuns. It's so fun. They're just fun, like children's mystery books. I love them a lot. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I have a book that actually pleasantly surprised me. I read this author's other book, and it was pretty lame. But I got this one because like I saw it at like a secondhand book swap thing. Not book swap thing. It was like a secondhand book pop-up shop. And I just like, I had to buy it just because. And it was a 666 by Jay Anson. So I read the Amityville Horror and it sucked. But this, because he's not having to pretend like he's writing something that's a true story, he can just go balls to the wall all out. Super fun, super intense, lots of weird stuff going on here. I enjoyed it. It is about this couple, and they come back from vacation, and somebody has moved a full-on like a 3-story house across from them, and they're like, what is this? This wasn't here when we left 2 weeks ago. And it is house 666, and it's possessed by something, and it's so fun. Super fun, super fun. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. If you were disappointed by the Amityville Horror, give this one a shot because it's a lot of fun. All right, this See No Script book. Unfortunately, this book I could only read, even though there are exercises in it, because somebody, whoever had it before me, filled them all out already in 1962 or whenever. But I did read it. And then I've got a couple more manga and another Kindle book. I read Spice and Wolf Volume 2. Meh. I'm not interested in continuing on with the series. Have I read Volume 1? No, but it's happened before where I've read, you know, a later book in a series, even so far down as book number 19 and went back for number 1. This is not one of them. This is what the art style looks like. It is about this merchant who is traveling with this wolf girl who was a goddess. The one good thing that this did for me is it did tell me a little bit about, there's this one YouTuber I watch that collects figures, and she collects figures of this girl. And I'm like, okay, now I know who that is. I think I gave this 1.75 out of 5 stars. Jeez, I did not like this. All right. Then I read another Kindle book, and this is a short story. It's called Dolly Did It by William Cook. It's like written in the form of a diary of this like 12-year-old girl who she keeps having nightmares about her like doll from childhood coming down and like taunting her and then murdering her family. And it was fine. It was like 30 pages. It was fun. It wasn't like the grammar and spelling were good, which I could enjoy. Ever since Call of the Cherokee, I've been kind of haunted by some of these free short horror things on Kindle, but that was all fine. I gave it, I think 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was fine. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And then I read the 34th volume of Attack on Titan. So this is another one where I'm not really into it, but I do have more background when it comes to Attack on Titan. I watched the first series as it was coming out. I was in high school. I remember watching the first season. I read the first couple volumes of manga. I never got super into it. And so this was like deeply confusing. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back and read the entire manga, but I could see myself buying the DVDs sets of the TV show, because this is definitely a very intense story, a very detailed story. There was all sorts of stuff going on here that I did not understand, but I did like some of the body horror aspects of it. I liked that. trying to find a picture. I don't really like the art style for Attack on Titan. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little sketchy. Like, it's a little too sketchy for me. Like, I don't really like dig it all that much, and also like the characters like grew up and I couldn't recognize them anymore. I gave it, what was it, 3.75 out of 5 stars. Like I said, like the story is very intense. It's very fun. I would be interested in going back and like watching the anime, but like, am I ever gonna read all 34 volumes of Attack on Titan? No, I never am. So yeah. Damn, I genuinely do currently reading for this too, don't I? I'm gonna skip it. So, because I'm doing a vlog right now, and that has been showing what all my currently reading stuff has in it, is my vlog. So, these plus the 2 Kindle books or whatever this past week, that is all, not this past week, it's since, when did I finish this? Between May 26th and June 3rd. That's that's that. I don't do these weekly anymore. I just do them whenever. But yeah, that's that. That's my stack of recently read. That's everything. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.